Regardless of what you're shopping for, there's always a point where the function plateaus, but the cost keeps rising. In this video, I'm going to put together a rock-solid set that'll cost you less than if you were to go out and purchase a Glock. A couple pre-qualifications here. I'll give a few options for each item in a similar price range. I will inevitably leave out great options in all categories, but for the sake of time and hopefully holding your interest, I'll have to cut it down to a few of my top picks. The purpose here is to get right to the heart of the quality to price ratio, commonly referred to as value. This setup I'm about to show you are some high value options for my personal preference. It may not align with yours, so keep in mind that this is one of nearly endless chains of possibilities and different combinations, even in this set price range. That being said, let's get into it, shall we? One of the most used tools in my bag of tricks is the folding knife. The truth is there are hundreds of blades out there that fall solidly into this category. Your choices may be different depending on your needs, but my purpose is pretty strictly light EDC use. One of the best values I've come across that matches almost all of my criteria is the Kershaw Chill. I actually gave mine away in the 1000 sub giveaway, but this blade runs about $20 and makes for an ideal EDC option. It's thin, lightweight, and has a great tip. For a full review, I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description down below. Stepping up into the $30 tier comes the Ontario Rat 2. Again, fantastic EDC option and comes razor sharp out of box with many different color options. Here's a cool option, the OTF Lightning, value of which I've never seen in the auto world. I got this back in 2012 for like $25 if memory serves. I think it was on sale, but I think they're closer to around $35 now, which is still well worth the money. Moving up into the $40 tier comes the Spyderco Tenacious. I reviewed most of these options, so if you would like to know more, I'll go ahead and outline the links to bring you directly there. Again, way too many options to go through, but these are a few that I would recommend. Also note that many of Kershaw's offerings, or pretty much all of the Spyderco Bird line, falls into this category. Let's talk lights a minute. I never realized just how useful a dedicated torch is. I use mine almost every day, and it'll remain a permanent fixture in my everyday carry. I like to carry pen lights, so my recommendations will revolve around such. A couple of very reasonable options in the small category would be the iNova X1. Although I paid $10 for this at Cabela's, I see it more commonly for about $20. This mini flashlight has wonderful capabilities for its size. It features two modes, low, which is 11 lumens and will run about 70 hours, and high, which is 80 lumens at 4 hours. The two-setting option is a nice feature, as sometimes a crazy flood of light can be obnoxious in some instances. There's a momentary on pressure plate in the rear, or you can give it about 1/8 of a twist to keep it on. One more quick on and off twist will put it in the other mode. Another great option that runs about $15 is the Streamlight MicroStream. This little light offers a clickable tail switch, however only has one brightness setting of 40 lumens with a runtime of about 2 hours 15 minutes. This one offers a detachable clip that can be fastened to the pocket of your pants or even the brim of a hat in the event you need to use both of your hands. This little light has served me very well and aligns with the minimalist motif. I actually carry this as a backup to my Preon 2. Anyway, both of these options provide ample light for a vast majority of EDC situations, and most importantly, take only one AAA battery. Quickly, I'll give you a few of my larger pen light recommendations that take two AAA batteries. The first is the Streamlight Stylus Pro. This is simply a longer version of the MicroStream. It has a runtime of about 6.5 hours at 60 lumens and runs about $20. The Streamlight ProTac AAA. This light is similar to the Stylus Pro, but it has three modes. High, 80 lumens with about a 1.5 hour runtime. Low, 10 lumens at about 30 hours. And strobe that'll run for about 5 hours. The price of this one is anywhere from about $25 to $30. The last option I'm going to talk about is the Next Torch K3, and this runs about $30 to $35. This has 3 modes: high, 180 lumens at 26 minutes, medium, 70 lumens at 160 minutes, and low, 25 lumens at 38 hours. This light has a memory function and will automatically turn on to whatever setting you left it on, as long as it was on for at least 3 seconds. This is an absolutely fantastic light. If you want to know more about it, again, I will leave a link to my review and testing in the description. Then, of course, there is the 4.7's Preon 2, and although I think it's a fantastic light, the price approaches the $50 mark and may or may not be appropriate for the premise of this video. Let's talk multi-tools. The 2 smaller options I will recommend is the Gerber Dime and the Leatherman Squirt. Obviously, these have limited capabilities, but works perfect for most of the small tasks I find myself performing, like untangling my wife's gold chains or even taking off a small nut in a pinch. If I need something more substantial, I'd rather grab my tool bag in the car than mess around with a larger multi-tool. Anyway, both the Dime and the Squirt have a very precise plier tips. So well, in fact, that they double as tweezers, as they are precise enough to pull hairs. If I'm being honest, I actually prefer the cheaper Gerber Dime for a few reasons. Not that I use a blade, but I prefer it to the single bevel on the Squirt. It has everything the Leatherman has and more. Like this little blade that is great for opening boxes, and it's fantastic for peeling oranges, as the blade cuts only through the rind. It also comes with tweezers and a bottle opener that is integral in its design. I prefer the file and the scissors on the Squirt, though. The Gerber Dime goes for about $15 and the Leatherman Squirt for about $30. For those who prefer a larger option that exhibits great value, you may want to check out the Gerber Suspension. Normally I'm not a huge Gerber fan, but you get a lot for your money and the lifetime warranty as well. I carry one of several Victorinox options in addition to my small multi-tool. This may be either like an either-or type of thing for you, but I found that it really kind of fills in the gaps depending on your choices. For instance, if I carry the Leatherman Squirt, I will carry a Victorinox with tweezers. There are too many options to go through, but any of them offer a lot of utility for the space they take up. The standard classic runs about $10. I also like the Signature Light or the Midnight Manager, as they fit my watch pocket with my multi-tool and gives me another small light, a pen, and a nicer driver than the one on either multi-tool. As far as the firearm is concerned, anyone who knows me knows I'm a semi-auto kind of guy. That said, I'll throw in a revolver option, as well for those who prefer them. My number 1 recommended high-value single-stack subcompact firearm is the Smith & Wesson Shield. This little gun has surprised the hell out of me. It holds 7+1 rounds with a flush-fitting mag. You also get an extended 8-round mag that provides a bit more real estate in the grip. This is a very comfortable and shootable gun. It's one of those guns that handles as if it were a larger gun. Most importantly, it has a shorter striker-fire trigger, which I definitely prefer in a carry gun. Although this is an early model, they can now be had without the manual safety. I have a Laser Max laser on it right now, but this is not part of the high-value motif that we're going for here. I see this gun for around $350, which is a tremendous value. The Springfield XDS is another great option. It's very similar to the Shield in a lot of ways, but it does have a different feel to it. Instead of a manual safety, it has a grip safety. I really like the fiber optic front sight, and like the Shield, it has a shorter striker-fire trigger and holds 7+1 with an 8+1 extended mag and 9mm. Since they've come out with all different kinds of variants of this gun, it has kind of forced the price down. I've seen this gun for under $400. This gun comes with a very nice case, a friction fit outside the waistband paddle holster, and a double mag carrier. The Walther PPS. Now this one has been around for quite a while. Frankly, this is a gun I've only shot once, but I enjoyed it, and I remember especially liking the striker fire trigger. They have since come out with an updated version where they ironically improved the trigger and some other things, but the original can be had for under $400 as well. For the revolver, I'm going to recommend the Ruger LCR. It has proven to be a favorite for many who prefer them. Some prefer carrying them for comfort, and the LCR makes this easier with its anti-snag design. It holds 5 rounds of 38 and can also be had for under $400. The best value holster I've come across is the Cloak Tuck Hybrid holster by Alien Gear. If you're looking for a comfort to price ratio, I've yet to come across a holster that has done any better. Sure, I wear stealth gear now, and obviously I prefer it, but it's over 3 times the price too. Alien Gear came out with their 3.0, which approaches the $50 price point. They also have a neoprene version, but for that money, I would go with the Galco King Tuck. If you carry outside the waistband, you can get like the $35 holster from the Glock store. It looks nice and flat and seems to be of okay quality for the money spent, but I have not worn it, so I cannot recommend it. As I've said in other videos, I believe a good rigid and purpose-built gun belt is the foundation of a comfortable EDC setup. I'll admit that this is less important while carrying smaller guns and less weight, however, it is a good idea regardless. Aesthetically, I prefer leather, but it has a tendency to stretch and I often find myself in between the notches. That being said, my go-to belt is the 511 trainer belt. This is a very rigid nylon belt that will support the weight very well. The belt and buckle is said to take thousands of pounds before failure, and best of all, you can cinch it more precisely than you can notched leather belts. The trainer belt has a width of 1.5 inch, which I find works best for most belt loops. For those looking for this exact same belt, but in 1 3/4 inch, you'll want the instructor belt. This belt runs about $40. If you do prefer leather and you're looking for a good high-quality purpose-built gun belt, you may want to look into Bigfoot gun belts. They use very heavy thread that is triple-stitched and double-layered. But most importantly, they use a spring steel core which provides the rigidity that we're looking for. These belts run about $60. Talking about pepper spray. Now, although this is regarded by many as a tool a girl would carry, I personally feel it is a very important one for anyone. Although I had my day, I've grown out of fist fighting. I'm not going to go toe-to-toe with someone if I can help it. If I can remove myself, that would be my preference, but if that's not an option, I would rather take the fight out of somebody than to actually fight them. Pepper spray is a very effective way of doing this. I speak from experience, perhaps against my better judgment, but experience all the same. Not only does it take the fight out of your attacker, but it also temporarily takes their sight, which gives you ample time to get out of the situation. Most of them are made with a type of dye that is visible only under black light for identification purposes later if it comes to that. The spray I'd recommend is by Damsel in Defense, and I know the name can be a little rough on the ego, but it has a very high OC content of 18% and yields a continuous stream for about 5 seconds. This is cheap insurance at about $10, so do yourself a favor and go ahead and pick some up. The last couple things that we'll go ahead and wrap this up are pretty cheap. First of all, we have the bandana or the cloth of any kind, which can be handy whether you have to protect your face or provide minimal protection for your lungs or, pick up something hot, clean up a mess, clean up your child's face or whatever the case may be. You get a lot of utility for the $1 piece of cloth. The second of which is chapstick. I've talked about both of these in my winterizing your EDC video, but at the risk of repeating myself, chapstick is good for the obvious reason, but can also be used to seal small cuts or cracked skin. It can be used as a wax for like a candle. You can lubricate and or protect your EDC blade, or you can even use it as a gun lubricant in a pinch. There are many uses for, such a tiny and cheap option. So let's go ahead and tally up my top picks really quick here. For the blade, I'll go ahead with the extreme value option, the Kershaw Chill, at $20. The light, although I'd be happy with any of them, I'll go ahead and take the more expensive Next Torch K3 at $35. For the multi-tool, I'll gladly take the Gerber Dime at $15. The firearm, I'm going to choose the Smith & Wesson Shield at $350. For the holster, I'm going to go with the Alien Gear Cloak Tuck at $30. For the belt, I will choose the 511 Trainer at $40. And if we add in the $10 pepper spray and with the bandana and chapstick, that gives us a running total of about $502. With savings like that, you could invest in a higher-end EDC knife, put night sights on your carry pistol, purchase my top recommended inside the waistband holster, which is the Stealth Gear Onyx, or really any number of options that can be had for the $28 that we saved. Or you could have one Gen 4 Glock. Thank you guys for sticking with me here. As I said earlier, if you'd like to know more about any of these options, I'll include links to my full reviews to a lot of what I reference in this video. If you enjoyed the video and would like to leave a like, I'd appreciate it. If you're new to the channel and like the content so far, I invite you to subscribe by clicking the watermark and then the subscribe button. Anyway guys, until next time, this is Chase Palagi, signing off.